Welcome to Trailblazers, the podcast where we sit down with contrarian tech leaders who found conventional success in unconventional ways. I'm your host, Erica Wenger, founding general partner of Park Rangers Capital. Each week, we uncover the stories, strategies, and moments of grit that define the builders shaping the future. They're not just chasing unicorns, but instead creating elephants, companies, firms, or movements built to last. On Trailblazers, we spotlight founders who succeed by doing things differently, not by following the playbook, but by rewriting it. Many of those unconventional builders and the VCs backing them run on Brex because it helps them scale with speed and focus. From smart corporate cards and high-yield banking to AI-powered expense management, Brex gives startups the financial stack they need from day one so they can spend more time building and less time managing back-office operations. More than 30,000 companies, from breakout startups like Anthropic and Cursor to global leaders like DoorDash and Plaid, trust Brex to help them spend smarter and move faster. That's why we, as a venture firm and also the podcast, run on Brex too. Sign up at brex.com/trailblazerspod to get started and claim exclusive rewards. That's brex.com/TRAILBLAZERSPOD. So today on the show, I am thrilled to be joined by the one and only Ali Kriegsman. Ali is a writer, entrepreneur, and business strategist whose work lives at the intersection of brand building, storytelling, and sales. At just 24, she co-founded Bulletin, a retail technology company that reimagined how premium brands and retailers connect. Bulletin went on to be acquired by Emerald, the largest B2B events company in the US, in a $10 million deal. Since then, Ali has helped founders and companies raise more than $20 million in venture funding, secure profitable exits, and close major sponsorship and partnership deals. She's also the author of How to Build a Goddamn Empire, which I should have brought. I didn't bring. Beautiful pink book. And her most recent fiction project, which we're talking about today, The Raise. We'll do one of these. Which pushes the boundaries of traditional publishing by blending storytelling with cinematic, social, and direct-to-consumer elements. Ooh, fun. To create an immersive brand experience, which we will get into. We didn't say it's a book. It's an immersive brand experience. It's an experience. Ali has been recognized as a Forbes 30 Under 30 honoree and one of Fast Company's most creative people in business. And her work has been featured in the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, Entrepreneur, Refinery 29, The Today Show, and many more. I can't wait for you to hear this conversation. Let's welcome our first ever two-timer guest, Ali Kriegsman.
Thank you so much for having me, Erica. I'm excited to catch up and talk about all things The Raise. It's out very soon.
I know. When this podcast launches, we were just talking about it. It comes out tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
So, September 17th.
In the future.
In the future.
Yes.
I can't believe you're our second only ever guest. That's like so wild to me. I would have never guessed it would be you, but I'm so glad that it's you.
I'm honored that it's me. And we were saying this before we started recording. I feel like whenever the first time was like a zillion lifetimes ago. I feel like I'm 1,000%. A different person than that.
I feel like one of the first things we're going to talk about is just like catching us up on life, because I actually looked, it was a little over 3 years ago.
Oh my God.
Like insane.
And
even like
universe.
The podcast was different. You were different. It's like wild. We'll get into all of it. Before we get into the meat of the interview, I want to start with our icebreaker question we ask all our guests. So Trailblazers is about choosing the hard paths. So let me start with a question we ask all our guests. What was the hardest part of your journey, the moment that almost broke you, and specifically with writing this book?
It's a very good question. The origin story of this book is very messy. I feel like Alexis, the protagonist in the book, is on her own hero's journey, and I was on my own hero's journey bringing this book to market. Publishing is so much like venture capital. Like, publishers are basically placing bets all year. They're acquiring titles. They have no idea what's going to work, what's not going to work. And much like venture capitalists, they're predicting the future. They're acquiring titles that are going to get published 2 to 3 years later. And when I went to market with this book in 2023, editors loved the book, but the comps, the startup thrillers that they had acquired previously, didn't necessarily do well for them. So if you think about venture capitalists, publishers similar to VCs are pattern matching, right? So just the atmosphere of this book, the fact that it's set in a startup, didn't work in my favor. And so with our first round of submissions, weren't able to successfully sell this book to a publisher. And in between, our first round of submissions and deciding to go out on second round or not, I decided I was going to bring this book to market myself. But that realization that I maybe didn't fit the traditional publishing model for this book, and that maybe this was going to be all on me and that it was going to be a lot of work and it felt really overwhelming. Just cultivating that self-belief that I could do this on my own, that I could do it in a new, innovative way, that I could do something, hopefully really inspiring to bring this to life on my terms, was obviously really empowering, but also very terrifying. And this is a self-funded project. So that was also very terrifying. It felt like I was kind of doing my own little startup all over again.
Yeah, 100%. It reminds me so much of venture in the fact that if you don't fit an exact bucket for a VC, they're just not going to back you.
Yeah.
So you have no choice but to either bootstrap and find profitability on your own or tweak what you're doing to fit the mold. And I think that, obviously we'll get into all the meat of the book. For me, it doesn't actually fit a clear bucket. I know you say startup thriller, but I don't know. It's almost like it's so businessy and so thrillery that I feel like that almost undermines it by trying to combine the two, So I don't even know what category it would even fit in. And I feel like that is similar to a lot of the best businesses. We don't even know how to bucket. When Airbnb was starting, it's what even is this? It's such an uncomfortable proposition to bring people in your home. So that's true innovation is when you can't actually bucket it, but then you're faced with the financial piece, like you said.
Exactly. And I think for me, it went from, I feel rejected. I feel dejected. I feel am I allowed to curse on this podcast?
Yeah,
I feel like a fucking loser.
Yeah.
But then I read through the editor feedback and I was like, they love the characters. They love the plot. It's such a propulsive, gripping, uncut gem style, I need to know what happens type of reading experience. And this is really just a marketing problem. When editors say, I don't know where this fits on my list, or I don't know how we would market this, or I don't know what genre this is, to me, that wasn't saying this book isn't good. It was saying, we don't have necessarily the equipment or the tools or the energy or the wherewithal to bring this to market. But I believed that I did have all those things.
And you're proving to be true, and we're going to get into all of it. I want to hear more about the finances of the publishing world. You talk about how it's similar to venture capital. They buy a lot of different books or rights, and then they hope some pay off, and maybe they double down on those with sequels, which I'm kind of trying to make the VC connection.
Mm-hmm.
What is the returns profile of a traditional publisher house? Because I will say too, the same way that AI is making it easy to build software and you don't really need venture, I feel like it's kind of the same with book publishing. It's going out of vogue. There's a lot of innovative ways to push your book out, which we'll get into because you're really doing that. Talk to me about the finances of it and do you really need them for any of it?
It's publishing in general is a very low margin business. And so I have a lot of empathy for publishers and for editors. And I think much like traditional media writ large, a Condé Nast, for example, or a Hearst or a Meredith, that's been undergoing this massive kind of macro transformation because of digital and now because of things like Substack, where independent journalists and curators have the tools to make a name for themselves and kind of turn themselves into their own mini media empire. I think publishing is in the middle of what's going to be an even bigger transformation within the traditional publishing space. So we've seen new things crop up like authors' equity, where authors get a larger cut of their sales when they bring a book to market. We've seen new things launch like 831 Stories, which actually has a partnership with Authors Equity. They have a distribution partnership with one of the big five. And it's a similar model where I believe the author doesn't get as significant of an upfront advance, and there's more upside when they sell more books. And they're really pursuing authors at 831 Stories that have some sort of established community or established platform already to help guarantee that the book's going to find its audience. And so what's really tricky with traditional publishing, to go back to your original question, is traditional publishers acquire maybe 1,000 to 2,000 titles in a given year if you're in the big five. And that you'd think would motivate risk-taking, right? Because we're placing all these bets.
Totally.
We can invest in something that's really voicey and lacks plot, or we can invest in something really experimental and see what happens. But actually, because it's such a low-margin business, they're pattern matching themselves to death in my eyes. So this year, for example, romantasy has been huge. If a romantasy title takes off and makes the publisher the majority of their sales that year, then they're going to find other titles that share similar tropes or share similar characters or share a similar audience. And so that's how you see this kind of acquisition rush of romantasy titles. It's very cyclical. A few years back, it was maybe like the Gone Girls of the world. And so it puts the industry in a situation where they're relying on their backlist, which is basically like the Harry Potters or the Diary of a Wimpy Kids of the world, where they were published eons ago. They're evergreen. They're selling all the time. And so you almost like kind of also don't need to take risks because of that. It's like you're making your margin from like the titles you acquired a decade ago that are still selling to like 8-year-olds and 12-year-olds, or Gone Girl, again, a book that's always going to sell. And then within the like acquisition budget you have year over year, you're like chasing what you know is going to perform. Because if your backlist is what's making you your margin every year, you're like, shit, we need to fill in the holes with stuff that we know is going to work. And so I think for new voices or experimental voices, traditional publishing is potentially not the right fit. Also, nonfiction advances can be in the 6 figures, especially if you have a platform. Fiction advances are much lower. They're maybe $20K, $30K, $40K. Then you pay your agent 15%. Then you pay taxes on what you get. And then also that advance gets paid out in 3 chunks. It gets paid out when you sign, it gets paid out when you submit your full manuscript, and then it gets paid out when you publish. And so the monetary incentive for someone with an audience or with hustle or a mix of both who has that entrepreneurial spirit like me, that model, even financially, is a bit like, why would I do that? For anyone listening who wants to listen to someone speak very eloquently about this, there's an author named Chelsea Fagan who's published a few really solid nonfiction titles. And she's self-published a bunch of fictional titles that simply because of the financial calculation, she was like, I'm going to self-publish because the advance makes no sense. I'll make much higher margin and more ROI if I do this myself on my own terms. So I think we're in a bit of a reckoning where authors that can become mini creators or are open to the labor of marketing themselves and publishing on Substack and publishing on TikTok and getting their hands dirty to build the audience that will read their book. I don't know that doing a deal within traditional publishing is the best financial arrangement. That said, traditional publishing does give you a lot of prestige. It also gives you maybe a higher promise of press coverage. It also helps connect you with incredible editors that are going to edit your work beautifully and help level you up. So there is a lot of value in traditional publishing. It really just depends on what your values are and what your priorities are as an author.
And I think the finances, though, just have to be a big part of it. Like, I think prestige is one of those things where, like, it's so not quantifiable. Like, I feel this way more and more with every day. People are saying, like, oh, should I stream something online or should I go on Bloomberg? And I'm like, yeah, in some ways going on Bloomberg's cool. But if you're going to get more listeners in another platform, just do that. Money talks.
Yeah.
What was Chelsea Fagan's online following? I'm not familiar with her before she decided to self-publish. Was this her just like hustling and grinding and talking about the self-publisher journey? Or was she like already a super legit author and then was like, you know what, the money isn't mathing. Like the math's not mathing. Let's go do it ourselves.
Yeah. Chelsea is an unbelievable case study. I've also never met her. I'm just a fangirl.
Okay, Chelsea, reach out.
Chelsea, yeah. but I know an amazing woman on her team, Mackenzie, who runs Bad Bitch Book Club. She was just featured in the New York Times. Mackenzie, you're incredible, and everything you've built is unbelievable. So Chelsea runs a media platform, an education platform called The Financial Diet. Chelsea's story is she came from a family that didn't necessarily manage their money well. She, was middle lower class. She got herself into a lot of debt when she was young, and the Financial Diet was a result of wanting to share the educational tools and the resources that helped her build financial literacy and get herself not just on her feet financially, but really thrive. And so the Financial Diet existed. I don't know exactly what the following of that platform was.
I think it's big. I already
it's
know
very
it.
substantial.
Yeah.
But Mackenzie, who Chelsea worked with to help launch her fiction book, was the one who motivated Chelsea to get on TikTok when she started working on her first fiction book. And Chelsea basically just took off on TikTok right away. She understood the language of TikTok. She understood the format. She understood the topics and the themes that resonate with people. So she herself did not have, the multi-hundreds of thousands of followers that she has now on TikTok until it was kind of push come to shove back against the wall. Like, you need to build an audience in order for people to want to buy this book from you. And she made crazy margin on her book. She did a podcast about it. I don't know exactly where, but it definitely seems like her becoming a creator in and of herself outside of the financial diet was a key part in the fiction book success as a self-published author.
Yeah, I mean, that makes total sense. I think all roads lead back to being a creator and owning your own future.
I mean,
we know that well.
For better or for worse.
For better or worse. I want to talk a little bit about the media side of things.
Yeah.
So we're talking about the publishing landscape changing. And you mentioned 831 Stories, which I know well. You guys should look them up if you don't know them. They're doing a very cool job with, you can probably explain it better than I, but like owning like the book and then owning like the merch that's connected to the book and then owning like if there's a song mentioned in the book, then they stream the song and you get money. It's like this whole brand world they're building. And then Hello Sunshine is another company, we all obviously, Reese Witherspoon, buying books and then turning them into movies and TV shows and really having this like sort of out of book experience.
Yeah.
And so I want to talk to you a little bit about like the future of that. And I'm sort of, it's a leading question because in your bio, you talk about this immersive brand experience with the Raise, which you're definitely doing. How do you think about like the future of, media in relation to books? And maybe you can hint at and talk about how you approach that with the Raise, because it's been really crazy seeing this just as someone that follows you online.
Thank you.
How creative you've been.
Thank you.
Like, it's insane. I've never seen a book launch look like this. So tell us more.
Thank you. Well, first and foremost, the Raise for me came from a very kind of dark place professionally where I felt really creatively stifled. I felt really creatively unproud of my output. Unproud is not a word, but
not proud.
that I think a lot of people can relate to that. Like, maybe creative people can relate to that, where you're in an environment where you almost feel like you're in a little cage. And I think also like the VC world I had been in with Bulletin and the era I had come up in, right? I think that VC is likely very different now, and you can tell me after I answer if I'm right or not, but I think there is more of a focus now on like unit economics and sustainable growth. And obviously there's an expectation to be massive, but I came up in like 2013, 2014, 2015, like move fast and break things and break them and like step on glass, like bleed everywhere. And I don't know that I have ever done like patient, thoughtful, creative work like this before. And the Raise for me, obviously is this like massive multi-pronged like marketing monster, but it really started out for me as like just this big opportunity for creative expression where I got to work in all these interdisciplinary ways, inspired by cinema, inspired by social, and then like living in those disciplines too. Like, there's a movie trailer coming out on September 17th when the book drops that has like actors playing the characters and, set in all these parts of New York that are nostalgic to me. I made a song for the trailer because I make music, which a lot of people don't know. I produced a song that like really has the energy of the book. I creative directed this cover with my creative director, Allison. Ava, the director of the trailer, shot this photo. The social campaign just takes everything I've ever learned about social and like puts it into action. And yes, it all kind of resulted in this like mastermind marketing campaign, but it was really just me feeling genuinely inspired. And I think people can sense that in what's going on. And I think for me, where the future of publishing is going is like, hopefully, I don't know if it's going to happen vis-a-vis traditional publishers, but marketing is visual. Like, we spend so much more time, exponentially more time, unfortunately, watching TV and flipping through TikTok and Reels than we do reading. Addison Rae made a music video for every single one of her songs on her debut album for a reason. Like, I looked to the younger generation and what they're doing creatively and on the marketing front to kind of tell me what I need to be doing to do good work. And I always just kind of felt like this is a world. Like, I've built a world. What can I do to bring people into that world and get them excited the same way you would build a brand, right? And I think that is the future of publishing, because I think continuing to promote these titles in this two-dimensional way where you're just sending boxes to book talkers hoping that they talk about it, you are just like sending it out to bookstores. It's like everything is so oversaturated. There are so many books and there's so much content about books. And books are also now competing with, am I going to watch Netflix? Am I going to watch Hulu? Am I going to scroll on my phone? So in order to stand out in all those decisions, you have to be on the phone. You have to feel like a Netflix series. You have to do a book delivery that feels really branded and special. And so for me, it was definitely strategic, but I think mostly it was just intuition, and it was everything I've learned and cultivated through my career and my genuine creativity. And I do consider myself an artist, and I feel like that's cringe to say, but like I am. And it was all those things kind of mushing together to make a statement about where I think the future of publishing is and could go. Whereas 831 Stories tells the story of their future with merch and events, which I love and I too hope to do in the future. I just wanted to add this layer of this like cinematic trailer where it's like, let me bring you into the world visually and see if that converts into people wanting to read the book as a next step.
I've actually used Gusto at 3 different companies, and every time it's been such a relief. It's simple, it's reliable, my paycheck was always on time, no drama. And unlike the big clunky payroll systems out there, Gusto is affordable and designed for teams like ours. Gusto is online payroll and benefits software built for small businesses. It's all-in-one, remote-friendly, and incredibly easy to use, so you can pay, hire, onboard, and support your team from anywhere. Try Gusto today at gusto.com/trailblazers and get 3 months free when you run your first payroll. That's 3 months of free payroll at gusto.com/trailblazers. One more time, gusto.com/TRAILBLAZERS. OpenPhone is built to help small business owners and growing teams stay on top of every customer conversation. Instead of juggling calls, texts, and voicemails on a personal phone, OpenPhone gives you a dedicated business line and an all-in-one inbox that works on any device. Teams can collaborate in real time, picking up conversations seamlessly and responding faster than ever. And with OpenPhone's AI agent, Sona, handling after-hour calls, answering questions, and even booking appointments, you'll never miss a lead. Rated 4.7 stars on G2 and trusted by more than 90,000 businesses, OpenPhone is the smarter way to grow without missing a customer. OpenPhone is offering my listeners 20% off of your first 3 months at openphone.com/trailblazers. That's openphone.com/trailblazers, which is TRAILBLAZERS. And if you have existing numbers with another service, OpenPhone will port them over at no extra charge. OpenPhone, no missed calls, no missed customers. I think this concept, first of all, everything you're saying I think is so brilliant, and I have like so many things I want to talk to you about. I think the one thing that's standing out to me is you're really meeting the moment with how people consume media today.
Yeah.
And you talk about like, for example, like the news. Everyone used to read newspapers. That was like written word. And they would come every morning, and that's how, maybe there were little images, but there was definitely no video, there was no sound, there was no, color. Like it was simple newspaper, so they got their information via the written word. And now people literally will read the same stories on like a TikTok or like on an Instagram reel. Like they literally read the news.
And there's like B-roll playing in the back. It's like this elephant gave birth, and it's like they're licensing images of elephants in water that like aren't even of the elephant that gave birth.
No, but that's exactly
Such
right.
a random example that I thought of.
But it's like, but all that stuff is real. And I think that like, you are meeting people where they are now, how they consume media today. And maybe that's why publishing is sort of dying a little bit, because it's speaking to a very, very niche audience. Like I would say people that unfortunately read newspapers now, it's a very niche audience.
Yeah.
A lot of the young, fresh, consumers like media and they like music and they like movies.
And it's what gets them excited.
It's shareable too. That's another big part of it.
Exactly. And I think it's also, it helps build community. Like I think that was a big piece of it for me. I'm posting these POV videos. I'll try to explain it. It's hard to explain if you can't see it. But I'm posting these like POV TikTok videos where I got the actors in the trailer to not just make like the cinema grade content for the trailer, but also I had a whole shot list of like social content. Like I was a social media manager.
Yeah.
And it's Alexis, who plays the protagonist in the book, who's trying to solve the mystery of Darcy, her co-founder's death. She's trying to raise their $75 million Series C. She's trying to manage the emotions of her Nepo baby boyfriend, who doesn't like that she's in this new, all-consuming position of power. She's trying to manage the expectations of her investor, Gordon, who's like breathing down her neck about growing more and growing faster. So it's this POV video of Alexis at Darcy's funeral, and she's crying into camera. And then the text over it is, POV, your best friend and co-founder died in a freak accident at Burning Man, and you suddenly have to give a eulogy to everyone you both knew and her family who hates you. And the video just goes viral, and everyone in the comments is like, I don't see a tear in your eye. Why are you recording a video like this at your best friend's funeral? This is disgusting. Or, girl, you'll be okay. And it's then people start talking to like each other about what they see going on. And so it's having this visual element lets you create community about what you're doing, which I don't know that more kind of one or two dimensional forms of book marketing allow you to do in the same way.
Okay, we need to really stay on this for a second because it's so brilliant. Just imagine you're on TikTok and you're scrolling and you see like a pretty brunette at a funeral, because we really have to like paint the picture. You have no clue this is connected to a book. You have no clue this is Ali's brainchild. You literally just see a pretty brunette, sad, and it's like, my co-founder just died.
In a freak accident at Burning Man. Also, I timed it so that I posted all of these Burning Man videos a week before Burning Man so that they would get traction. And then, unfortunately, someone did die via homicide at Burning Man this year, which I wasn't.
Was it a founder?
No, but it's,
oh my God.
It's the reason I timed the whole book this way is because Burning Man just happened and it centers on a freak accident at Burning Man. But keep going.
No, that's really devastating. You're like, did I manifest that? That's so sad.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's brilliant because you're scrolling. I mean, this happened to me. I'm scrolling on TikTok and I'm like, who is this girl? Like, that's so sad that her co-founder just died. And in no world am I thinking this is part of like a book launch. I mean, just put yourself in the shoes of like, let's say you are excited about a movie that's coming out and you know that the wife dies. Like, in what world is some big studio going to advertise that actress, like Blake Lively, let's say, doing a TikTok? Like, it's so innovative and it's so fresh.
Thank you.
The one thing I wanted to ask you about is you got some pretty big people to act in your brand world. Yeah. Specifically, there's one, Sophia
LaCourte.
Sophia LaCourte. Okay, so I am like kind of aware of there's drama about her though. How she's like this, spicy redhead who like took someone's boyfriend, whatever. I'm sure she's the most lovely, lovely, lovely girl.
She is.
But she kind of has this like bad girl vibe to her on the internet. And she's always looked really cool and fun. And all of a sudden when you were talking about this, you were like, Sophia is our Darcy. And I was like, oh my God, I immediately get it. I immediately get it because when I started the book, I already kind of knew who Darcy was because I associated with her with the actual real life personality of Sophia.
Yeah.
And it matches perfectly, like the hair, the vibe. Like, how did that happen? Where did that even idea come from? Like, oh, I'm going to get a famous TikToker that has this like bad girl energy to be my star. Like, walk me through all that. That's brilliant.
Thank you. So this is like, I truly feel like I'm about to talk. This is going to get woo-woo for a second.
Get woo-woo, yeah.
So I incubated so many ideas for this launch between November of last year when I quit Scent Lab into like February or March of 2025. And nothing about this launch was like left to chance. Like the things you're seeing happen now were like planned and then recorded like times and eons and eras before they're coming to life. But I did not hunt down Sophia LaCourte. What I did was in that planning phase, I really manifested like in my journal and in my heart and in my intention. I was like, I really think I need a big persona, like a known entity, whether it's someone on TikTok or like a indie actress or something to play Darcy. Because Darcy is so iconic. And what she stands for in the book, she's this vessel for projection. Everyone is projecting onto her. Alexis is so insanely codependent with her. Alexis says things about her like she's so beautiful, she's so brilliant, she's so cool, she's so perfect. It's almost like she can't be real. And I was like, I need to get someone that really epitomizes that. And I don't know if I can convey that with someone that doesn't have that energy. And I was thinking about White Lotus, the newest season of White Lotus, and how Patrick Schwarzenegger played this like Nepo baby son. And there was an article about it in maybe New York Mag or Variety or something, Vanity Fair, I don't remember, about how there's this new thing with like meta casting, how Patrick Schwarzenegger like played that role so well and it meant so much more because he is an actual Nepo baby. And I was like, I kind of need to do that with Darcy. I need someone that really is Darcy coded.
And why Darcy versus Alexis?
Because Alexis is the every girl.
She's like basic. She's like sweet, basic.
Everyone should see themselves in Alexis. Alexis is the first person present protagonist of the book. And Alexis is the person that the reader should be able to relate to. And so I wanted an incredible actress for Alexis because she's featured so like seriously in the trailer. But there's something about Darcy where I was like, I also kind of knew at that point I wanted her on the cover. I was like, I need someone that really has that feel. So I just started posting to TikTok. I was like, these are the characters, these are their vibes, this is what the show's about or what the book's about and what the trailer's about. And I'm casting, like reach out.
Did you say what you're casting for? Because I feel like it's even hard to describe. What did you say? It's like a film? It's a
I kept calling it a short film.
Short film, okay.
And then I was like, you can go to this link to learn more. For TikTok, you have to like keep it concise.
But it's like I'm casting for a book. Like that wouldn't land, you know?
Exactly.
So you have to get creative with it.
Exactly.
Okay?
And so I'm like putting it out there in the universe. The videos aren't really hitting. We're starting to audition people. I'm like, I don't have my Darcy. I actually had Victoria only. I didn't have Alexis or Darcy. And those are the two main girlies in the book. And then Sophia LaCourte comments on one of the videos and she goes, my For You page is so iconic. And I was like, holy fucking shit. I was like, this is literally my dream Darcy. This is like not real right now.
And had you thought of her before or no?
Yes.
You had. Okay.
But I genuinely approached my life as like the right things will come. I'm just going to keep doing my right things and the right things will come. I'm not like a chasey. When I'm in my chasey energy, it's that the things don't happen. And so I DM her and I'm like, you should audition, just like playing it cool. I'm like, you should audition for Darcy. And she auditions, super professional. She's the last audition of the whole like string of everyone for any role. We had 5 straight days of auditions. Like the post went viral. We were packed and done, no brainer. Sophia LaCourte, Darcy, done. And also that same day, maybe an hour before we had her, we found our Alexis. And then it was like the 3 women are cast. And it was like one of the most exciting days of my life because she is perfect for this role. And I felt so satisfied as a casting director.
And I will say this whole meta casting thing really worked, at least on me.
Yeah.
You will hear feedback from other people after the 17th, but like I really will tell you, I went into this perfectly imagining Darcy already. And so I didn't even have to get as up to speed, which was brilliant. And because again, I don't even know that much about this girl, but I've seen some stuff. And I just got it.
Yeah.
So I just cannot wait to see. And like even the book cover, you can kind of tell that it's her. I cannot wait to hear how it's received. I want to talk about where you go next. You have this book. You have these people that are cast.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a full-length film coming? Is there a sequel coming? Do you want to do this with another idea? I mean, I think of this as like the manifestation of you. Like you have the social marketing stuff down. You have the founder thing down multiple times over. This is so you. What's next? Do you build this empire? Do you do this concept again, like a Hello Sunshine, where you grab another kind of idea and build that out? Talk to me about how you're thinking about what's next.
It's a great question. What I've been saying to everyone this year is I've really been ruthlessly focused on excellence for this property all year. Like the only reason that everything is landing how it's landing, that the trailer is how it is, and I'm so proud of it, that this looks how it is and reads how it is and the social campaign is how it is because I kind of went from like a move fast and break things bitch to like a perfectionist. And I have just been so ruthlessly focused on executional excellence. When it comes to where I want this to go, you tell me, I think it reads very cinematically. And I wrote it that way on purpose. I made the trailer for a reason. I have always in my heart really yearned for the Rays to be something bigger. And I hope that can happen. I do have people reaching out with interest. But again, I'm kind of fending things off for now. I literally feel like one of those companies that's like, we're not raising right now. It's like,
you should, though.
I'm still launching this thing. And so I don't know who the right partner is going to be or who the right fit's going to be, but it does feel like such a natural extension to make this into a feature or a limited series. And that would just complete the circle. Like that would be the truest kind of final expression of this project. And it would bring me so much creative joy. I founded my own imprint to publish this book. It's called Cashmere Street Press.
Can you tell everyone what an imprint is that maybe doesn't know what that means?
Yes. So an imprint is basically the name of a company that publishes books. So within the big 5 publishers, they have imprints. So think of it as almost like little umbrella companies within like a Simon & Schuster or a Penguin Random House where they specialize in certain genres or certain vibes. So one of them may be, hyper commercial. One of them may be upmarket fiction. One of them may be super literary fiction. And so I created my own imprint, Cashmere Street Press, so that when you look at the spine, it doesn't say like Ali Kriegsman, it says Cashmere Street Press. And that gave me the ability, left the door open to, do I publish more titles that are mine? Do I publish more titles that are someone else's? I think what I know for sure is I really get psyched about book marketing. I do not have a completed manuscript yet for my next book because I've been focused on this one. And I haven't started connecting with authors about their titles, but who I have been connecting with is people within the publishing industry to understand where are the gaps, where are the holes, where is there room for innovation, and does it line up with where I think there's room for innovation? I think what 831 Stories has done for the romance genre is incredible. Does Cashmere Street Press do something different? But similar within the thriller genre. I don't know. Do I turn Cashmere Street Press into an entity that partners with publishers to do hyper creative, immersive, experiential marketing through multimedia and events to launch titles that they are placing their bets on, the few that they anoint every year to give marketing resources to? I don't know. Much like with everything in my career, I am really kind of casting myself out there. I'm waiting for the trailer to drop, and I'm waiting for these conversations to happen to kind of get a full picture. And I feel like the answer will come, but I'm in discovery mode right now. And it's super fun. It's super exciting. And it reminds me a lot of the role that I played in Bulletin. I was always very customer facing. I was always like on the ground in our various pivots trying to figure out like where do we go next and what makes the most sense. And so this in-between time is familiar to me. It's not scary to me. And I don't have an exact answer yet, but I'm loving like the research and the learning and the conversations that I'm having.
It can be an exploring phase. That's great. And I think honestly, this whole immersive brand experience, I'm going to use your language, is such a reflection of who you are.
Yeah.
And like Ali in a nutshell, that like no matter what happens next, it'll be pretty easy for people to grasp. Same way I said, knowing who Darcy was with the Sophia casting was pretty easy to grasp. People will know what you bring to the table because this is so you. I did want to ask you one quick question, and then we'll get into some lightning round. The Gordon character is very interesting. So I'm obsessed with this book. I'm like halfway through right now. You don't even understand, like I'm on the subway reading this book, okay? You cannot put it down. This Gordon character is giving me PTSD.
Me too.
So Basically, for those, obviously we gave a little bit of context, but Gordon is like this big time classic VC investor. Everything about him is like, 100 people like him if you work in our industry. I wanted to ask you maybe a tricky question. How do you balance your experience as a founder who has been through the raises, the venture funding, the board stuff, the managing people stuff with what you put out there publicly? And I know it's all fiction. I'll put a big asterisk. Everything she writes in here is not reflective of her own experience, but I'm sure you get inspired from things that have happened to you. So like, one, I want to hear more about where this Gordon character comes from because I'm obsessed. Literally, he's so vivid.
Thank you.
And two, how do you balance that? The like being fictitious, but also everyone who knows you knows that you've literally you've done a lot of the things that are mentioned in the book. And, you can kind of put 2 and 2 together for some stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I get a lot of questions like, are you Alexis? Is Darcy Alana? I'd say those are the most, or like, is Ethan this person or that person, and I mean, the one thing I'll say is like the mom in the book, Monica, is like very 1-for-1 my mom. And that was a conversation I had with her. And she was like, I'm totally fine with that. And I've always wanted to write my mom as a character. So that was.
And your mom and dad, that relationship in the book?
Simon is completely that
made
whole
up.
Very fictional. The only like 1-for-1 character is Monica.
Who's such a vibe, by the way.
Who's such a vibe and is such an exaggerated version. But one of my favorite authors is Patricia Lockwood, and her book Priest Daddy is incredible. And she writes about her actual family. And that was such an inspiration for me that I was like, I really want to write my mom as a character one day. So I used that. The raise was my one opportunity. With regard to Gordon, I mean, I started in VC when I was 24. I did Y Combinator. I met so many Gordons there. I had so many Gordons in my orbit in the 8-year journey of building Bulletin. And every character is basically like a hyper-fictionalized composite of like little notes and memories and moments that you collect along your way, and then hyper-fictionalized things that just like come to you in a stroke of inspiration when you're like sitting in your bed and you're like, what would be a funny thing for this character to do, or a funny attribute for this character to have? And so I talked about it a lot in therapy. I feel like writing this book was very vulnerable for me, and I knew that people were going to draw conclusions or be like, oh, is this or is this? But when you're a writer, you yourself know how heavily fictional everything is and what it is to write and kind of braid all these things together, and how nothing is 1-for-1. And I think for me, if it feels true and if it feels like icky in your skin, as you, Erica, it just means I did a good job. Like,
it's too icky. It's like
illustrating the reality of this archetype.
Yeah.
And I think with Darcy and Alexis, some of their emotional dynamics are like definitely semi-autobiographical. Like there's a truth to some of the emotional realities, but the characters are completely fictional. And I think authors do that a lot. They kind of take emotional realities and then like inject them into completely fictional characters. And I think that the girls, which Gordon calls them the girls, they're like 30-year-olds and Gordon's like, you girls.
Yeah.
Their relationship to Gordon and sometimes how they feel about Gordon and what's going on with them and the investors, like there is an emotional reality to that. But all of the players are completely made up.
Yeah. I think what you're really making the case for, at least for me, is the need to have someone who's sort of lived the thing, write the thing.
Yeah.
Because like I'm even when you talk about like the competitor, they're making what it starts with
Mars.
Mars.
Crafted.
Yeah. Crafted. Like they have a meeting, Alexis and Mars, and you're like, oh, that is what it's like when you're meeting with your competitors.
Yeah.
And I won't say one part of it, but there's sort of like a tense conversation at this spot, at this coffee shop, or battery house.
The battery house.
Yeah. there's so much of it that feels so real. Like even this whole like pressure to raise a giant Series C and 75 million and CEO versus COO and
G Calibrator.
Yeah, exactly. No, insane. Such a good name, by the way. Like you're making the case for me, and I don't know if this is something that you feel that you need to sort of have done the thing to tell the thing, or maybe it just makes it a more authentic experience. Because I feel like, I'll be honest, I read a lot of these books that are like, the female founder or like the early operator, whatever, and you can just tell when it's not on, and like you have so much of it that's on. What's your take on that? Like having people who haven't done it write it versus you who've done it?
I think that, well, first of all, I have like the utmost respect for anyone who wants to write a book in whatever worlds. Like I'm really pro fiction, pro free speech. And I think that in general, there's been a tendency in the last few years within traditional publishing also to like take the right of fiction away from certain authors because it's like, oh, you didn't have this experience, so you can't write about it. Like a lot of political correctness has gotten in the way of what authors can and can't do within fiction. And I think that an author can write about any world, like, and they can write any character. Like that's the beauty of fiction. And that's what it is to be an artist. But I think that I agree with you. Like I read similar books that clearly didn't come from the world and it felt somewhat flat. It didn't feel as textured. And I do think that there's a reason those books didn't feel true to us. And there's a reason those books didn't sell that well. And those comps are the reason my book didn't sell to publishers in many cases. But I'm totally pro and happy for those authors to have done what they did because I will probably at some point in my career write a book about a world I don't fucking understand, but I'm excited by it. Totally. I want to go there.
You should be allowed to. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that for me, this world is so rich with characters. It is so textured. It is so layered. It is so nuanced. It is so dramatic. It is so spicy. It is like Succession plus like the show Silicon Valley on HBO. And with the book, it's like that, but with a sprinkle of like Gossip Girl or Pretty Little Liars. There's like this femme like slant on it.
Yes.
And I was just like, look, Silicon Valley as an HBO show was co-written and run by a guy that was like an engineer in, I think, the 80s. So that's why it felt so true, is because someone who wrote it like was of the world. And I was like, I want to do that for the girlies. And I'm sorry that I come from that world and that things might feel a little too true. But if anyone's going to do it and do it well, yeah, I do think it's going to be someone like me that comes.
Or you. Or will just be you.
Or it'll be me that comes from it and of it.
Yeah. I will say it is an unbelievable book.
Thank you.
You have done an incredible job.
Thank you.
I want to do a few Trailblazer trade-offs, quick lightning round, and then we'll wrap up. I could keep asking you a million questions, and like I'll probably like text you later being like, great, how the heck did this happen? Okay, so give me a quick answer to these so people can get to know you a little bit more. Beyond just the book, which everyone will buy and read, who is Ali? Okay, we've got 10 of these. Book in hand or podcast in ears?
Book in hand.
Morning person or night owl?
Night owl.
Okay. Cooking dinner or ordering in?
Depends. Depends on the day I've had.
Today. What feels right now?
Ordering in.
Ordering in. Okay, what are you ordering?
Mediterranean. I order a lot of Mediterranean. It's like safe.
Do you have any good spots that I should try?
12 Chairs.
Classic.
So good. The schnitzel salad.
100%. There's this new spot called Mama Meze in Flatiron. The schnitzel, life-changing.
Love schnitzel.
Yeah, love schnitzel. Okay, VC or bootstrapping?
Bootstrapping.
Networking dinner or big conference?
Networking dinner.
Yeah, smaller is better. Hire slow or fire fast?
Both? Can't you do both?
You have to pick one.
Oh.
What's more important to you?
Hiring
slow or firing
fast?
fast?
Fire fast.
Fire fast. Okay. 10 small.
No, hire slow.
Okay. And give me your explanation. I want to hear.
No, okay. I can only pick one.
You can only pick one.
I feel like fire fast because I think like hiring is just like a sales process. Like you can be sold slow or fast on how good of a job someone's going to do for you. But I'm just such a doer where I measure things based on like, is it fucking happening or is it not happening? Where like once someone's in the role, like if it's either happening or it's not happening. So fire fast.
Okay,
Yeah,
good
fire
explanation.
fast. Yeah.
10 small wins or 1 moonshot?
10 small wins.
Tell me more.
I think that a sustainable, big, beautiful career is built on 10 small wins happening over and over and over again.
You're giving true founder, like anti-big publishing, anti-VC bootstrapping, 10 small wins. I love it. Being early or being right?
Being early. I don't care about being right.
And is there an example that comes to mind right now that you're like, I did this early and it was better than being right?
I feel like what I'm doing right now feels early. I don't know what's going to happen, but I just feel in my body like this is right. This is good. Something good is going to happen, or I'm inspiring people within my industry. People fucking love this book. Like I only am getting 4 or 5 star reviews on Goodreads. Like I'm getting really exciting inbound press requests for the book and opportunities to speak and things like that. And I don't care that I was right about the book being good or the book deserving publication. I just care that I'm doing something different and innovative within my industry that I'm excited about and that is inspiring other people. And that's like motivating me to get up and, have fun every day. So I don't care that I was right. I just care that I'm doing something cool and different and maybe early.
Yeah, and maybe right. It sounds like right.
Yeah, maybe
but,
right, but I'm like, okay, whatever.
Not the goal. Yeah. Never post on socials again, which is a hard one for you. Or never fundraise another dollar again from anyone else for any project ever.
I'm not anti-fundraising, so I would say never post on socials again.
Bold.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
I think fundraising is a great vehicle for growing and expanding something that's already working. I don't think it's a great thing to do when you don't know what you're doing yet. And I don't necessarily love being on social and on my phone all the time. I think that it's a great way to market myself and my book, and it's been a great outlet for creativity for me this year. But the way I incubated this whole thing was by not being on my phone. I had a separate social media phone most of this year that I only looked at in the mornings and the evenings. And then I didn't go on social at all in the daytime for most of 2025.
So you had like one phone that had all the apps downloaded and then one phone that was just like messages and emergencies, email.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow. And I imagine that was a very rewarding thing.
Yeah, I much prefer that. I'm just in a place right now where I can't do that. But yeah, I would like if I could build something that was revenue generating and the calculation was basically like I need XYZ capital to take this to the next level and here's what's going to happen and blah, blah, blah. I think that's a very good use of money that comes from fundraising.
Totally. Super interesting. And I love hearing about this social media phone. I feel like everyone says they want to do it, but no one actually does.
I did it. My boyfriend had an iPhone from 2019.
Whoa.
That I was like, okay, going to use this old little guy. Just, yeah.
It's very method of you too, because the book takes place in 2019.
Exactly.
Okay, last one. AI hype or AI fatigue?
AI hype.
Any AI products you're excited about or any explanation as to why hype, not fatigue?
I don't use AI a lot. I use ChatGPT a good amount, not to do things for me, but to prepare for things or to help organize my thoughts, or when I was doing a lot of consulting work, to like prep and organize client calls and things like that. I just think it's a great enablement tool. But I will say we tried to do this cover using AI instead of having to take like do a whole photo shoot. AI isn't there yet.
No, not even almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, even like the simplest things, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But it will be at some point. Okay, well, Ali, thank you for coming on.
Thank
Please
you.
tell everyone, we know tomorrow's the big day, September 17th. If you're listening to this after the 17th, you're in luck.
Yes.
You can already buy the book, but tell everyone where they can find you, where they can find the book, best deals to buy it, all that good stuff.
The book is available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. You can find me at Ali Kriegs on Instagram. It's ALIKRIEGS. I won't give you my TikTok handle because it's too crazy. And you can also go to readtheraise.com to find everything. The trailer for the book drops tomorrow, like the big cinematic trailer that I made. And the book, I think, is going to be like on a pretty crazy discount for the first week if you get a Kindle copy on Amazon. So it's $11.99 for the print copy. And the Kindle copy is going to be, I don't know, I think like $1.99 or something crazy for the first week. Yeah.
So I actually did just get a Kindle last week. Fun fact. I'm obsessed with it.
Yeah. Kindle is amazing.
Kindle's amazing. And they're not even that expensive, actually.
No.
They're pretty cheap to get. Ali, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Erica. Thank you, Trailblazers.
Thanks, Trailblazers. Everyone, get your copy, The Raise, out tomorrow.
Woo!
On Trailblazers, we're always talking about multiplying your impact. And that's exactly what Athena helps you do. Athena pairs you with a world-class executive assistant who becomes a true force multiplier for your business and your life. Working with my Athena assistant has been transformative. Gab was instrumental in raising Park Rangers Capital's fund in ways that I could have never imagined an assistant could contribute, from closing six-figure checks to identifying new LPs we should meet to matching my tone perfectly in follow-up emails. He's elevated my capacity as a founder by giving me more time to focus on the highest leverage work. Athena isn't just about scheduling meetings, it's about unlocking leverage. Hundreds of founders, investors, and executives trust Athena to free their time and scale their impact. Athena is offering our listeners $2,000 off for their first year of service and priority onboarding. And you want that, trust me, there's a very long wait list. When you're ready to multiply your impact and free up time for the things only you can do, go to athenago.me/Erica-Wenger. That's athenago.me/ERICA-WENGER. Thanks so much for listening to the Trailblazers podcast. If you enjoyed this conversation, be sure to follow the show so you never miss an episode. You can also support our work by sharing it with a friend or leaving a quick review. It helps more contrarian builders find us. For more on Park Rangers Capital and our community of elephant founders, head to parkrangerscap.com or find me online at Erica_Wenger. Until next time, keep trailblazing.